The arrival hook plus suspense, the small human colony of New Dawn floated quietly on the edge of the galaxy. It was night cycle, and most people were sleeping. Only the hum of generators and the soft blinking lights of the control tower broke the silence. Inside the tower, Commander Raynor was sipping cold coffee. It had been a long week: cargo delays, small repairs, and the endless silence of deep space. He was almost ready to sign off his shift when the comm screen lit up. A voice came through, soft, calm, but trembling. "My children are well behaved. I can be a good wife to you." Human. Raynor froze. The voice was female, but not human. There was a strange echo in the tone, like two voices speaking at once. For a second, he thought it was a prank, but then he saw the signal marker: unknown origin. "Control, track that signal." "Raynor?" "Ordered," the AI assistant replied. "Signal source detected. Location, asteroid belt, Sector 7. Energy readings minimal. One large life sign, two smaller ones." Raynor's eyebrows pulled together. 3 life forms, no weapons detected. But in the black of space, no weapons never truly meant safe. The voice repeated again. Softer this time, as if the speaker was tired. "Please, take us in. I will serve. My children will not trouble you." The council's debate within 30 minutes, the colony council gathered in the command room. The signal played again. The room was tense. "It could be a trap," said Dr. Hale, the science officer. "An alien lure to get inside our defenses. But what if it's real?" Argued Lieutenant Mara, Raynor's second in command. "If she's telling the truth, we could be letting a mother and 2 children die." Commander Raynor leaned back in his chair, eyes on the holographic display showing the damaged ship drifting among rocks. Its hull was scarred, metal plates, bent outward like something had clawed at it. "She's drifting," Raynor said slowly. "No power, life support almost gone. If it's a trick, it's a very slow and desperate one." Some council members still shook their heads. Others whispered to each other. In the end, Raynor made the choice himself. "We'll go," he said firmly. "Small team. No heavy weapons visible. We approach with shields up. If it's dangerous, we leave." They approached the rescue craft Starlens, cut through the darkness toward the asteroid belt. Inside, Raynor sat in the front seat, his eyes fixed on the alien vessel ahead. The ship was like nothing in human records, long and curved, shaped almost like the spine of a sea creature. Its silver surface cracked and burnt as they drew closer. They could see faint lights flickering inside. The ship looked old and tired. "Docking in 5, said Mara, steering carefully between jagged rocks. "Magnetic lock ready." The star lens connected to the alien ship with a dull thunk. Air seals engaged. The boarding hatch hissed open, letting out a cold wave of stale, metallic-smelling air. Inside the ship, the corridor was narrow. The walls covered in strange marking symbols carved deep into the metal. Raynor's boots made a dull sound on the floor as he led the way. Pulse rifle, ready but lowered. They passed broken panels, shattered glass, and wires hanging like dead vines. Somewhere deep in the ship, a faint hum echoed, like the heartbeat of a dying animal. At last, they reached the control chamber. She was there, tall, slender. Her skin was pale silver, smooth like liquid metal under the dim lights. Her eyes, gold, deep and shining, but heavy with exhaustion. She stood in front of them, unmoving, while 2 small children peeked out from behind her legs. The children's eyes were the same, gold, but brighter, filled with fear. She bowed her head slightly and spoke. Her voice the same as the transmission. "Please, take us in. I will serve. My children will not trouble you." Raynor lowered his weapon slowly. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Sarai," she said. Her words were simple, but there was a weight in her tone. "We have nowhere else to go." choice. Under pressure, Mara stepped forward. Her life signs are dropping. Oxygen levels low. If we don't get them out now, Raynor hesitated. His training told him not to trust unknown aliens. But something in her voice, it wasn't just fear, it was desperation. And the children shivering in the cold were too real to ignore. Behind them, the ship creaked. A low, groaning sound echoed through the corridor. Cerie's eyes widened. She looked over her shoulder at the shadows behind her. "They will come," she whispered. Raynor frowned. "Who?" But she only shook her head and said, "Please, hurry." The team moved quickly. They wrapped Sarai and the children in thermal blankets and led them back toward the docking hatch. As they left, Raynor glanced at the ship's cracked hull one last time and saw it. A mark burned deep into the metal symbol like a black sun with sharp lines radiating outward. He didn't know what it meant, but it made his skin crawl. When the Starlance pulled away, the alien vessel floated alone in the darkness. Somewhere far beyond the asteroid belt, a faint, cold signal pulsed. As if answering the call Sarai had hoped no one would hear. The rescue craft Starlance glided back toward the colony of New Dawn. Inside, the lights were dim, the air warm compared to the freezing alien ship they had just left behind. "Commander?" Raynor sat opposite Sarai. She sat perfectly still, her children tucked close on either side of her. They did not speak. They did not fidget. Only their golden eyes followed every movement in the cabin. Mara, in the pilot seat, kept glancing over her shoulder. "They haven't moved since we left the wreck," she whispered to Raynor. "Let them rest." Raynor replied quietly, though. He was watching them just as closely. Arrival at New Dawn. When they landed, the docking bay doors slid open, letting in the glow of the colony's artificial day. Sarai blinked at the light but did not shield her eyes. She rose gracefully, the children following in perfect step. As if they had been trained, waiting at the bay was Dr. Hale, the science officer. He stepped forward with a medical scanner. "We'll need to check your..." Sarai's hand moved gently but firmly over the device. "We are clean. No sickness. No weapons." Her voice was calm, but it was not a request. Hale hesitated, then glanced at Raynor. Raynor gave a small nod. They would scan her later without making a scene. The first conversation, they walked through the colony's central hall. People stopped and stared. Human eyes followed the silver-skinned figure with curiosity, suspicion, and fear in the council. Chamber. Sarai was offered a seat. She sat, back straight, children silent beside her. Raynor began. "You sent a message asking for help. You said you would serve. Why?" Sarai looked at him steadily. "Because you are human, not humans. Keep their promises." "That depends on the promise," Raynor said. "My world is gone," Sarai continued. "My people are scattered. The harvesters took everything. They will come again. If I stay alone, they will find me and take my children." She paused, her voice quieter. "I cannot let that happen." "The children," as she spoke. One of the children, a small boy with short silver hair, looked around the room. His eyes seemed to focus on things no one else could see, like he was reading invisible words in the air. The other child, a girl slightly older, touched her mother's hand and whispered something in their own language. Cerie's lips pressed together in a thin line. She did not answer. Mara, who had been watching closely, leaned toward Raynor and whispered, "These kids, they're too quiet. Kids that age should be curious, loud, not this." Raynor nodded slightly. He had noticed too. "The offer I can work," Sarai said. "Cook, clean, repair, farm. My children will not trouble you. In my culture, if I am accepted into your home as a wife, your enemies will be my enemies. They will have to kill you too. Take me." The room fell silent. Councilmember Bennett frowned. That sounds less like a marriage and more like a shield. Cerie's eyes softened, but her voice did not lose its edge. Perhaps it is both. A strange reaction Hale shifted. In his seat. You understand, we have rules here. Outsiders must be scanned, registered, and placed under observation. Cerie's gaze turned sharp. Observation means separation. My children stay with me. Always. At that moment, the boy suddenly looked toward the ceiling, his gold eyes narrowing. Mother, he said softly, the dark signal is closer. The words made the room feel colder. Raynor leaned forward. What signal? Cerie's lips parted as if to speak, but she closed them again. Nothing, just a memory. An uneasy welcome against the advice of some council members. Raynor arranged a small apartment for Sarai and her children in the residential ring. It was close to the central domes to watch, easy to protect. That evening, Raynor stood outside their door as Mara delivered a small package of clothes and food. The children took the package without speaking, but their eyes never left Raynor's face. Sarai stood in the doorway. Thank you, Commander. Don't thank me yet, Raynor said. You'll be watched. People here, they don't trust. Quickly. Neither do I, she replied, before closing the door. Shadows in the colony that night. Strange reports began to come in. A technician claimed he saw one of the children in the power room, though the security logs showed no entry. A farmer swore the girl touched a dying plant and it bloomed in seconds. The security AI picked up faint energy spikes near. Sarai's apartment spikes unlike any human tech. Raynor reviewed the reports in silence. He didn't believe in magic, but something was happening. The whisper near midnight, Raynor walked the quiet hallways. As he passed Cerie's door, he heard her voice soft in her own language. He stopped. The children were answering her, but their voices were different, now sharper. Older, like adults speaking through young mouths. One phrase repeated again and again. They are coming. Raynor stepped back, his pulse quickening. He didn't know who they were, but he had a feeling he would find out soon. Secrets in... The dark days passed in the colony of New Dawn, but the presence of Sarai and her two golden-eyed children was impossible to ignore. People whispered in the corridors. Some believed she was a refugee. Others were sure she was a spy. Commander Raynor kept her under quiet watch, reviewing daily reports. Every night, there was something strange energy spikes, unexplained movements, or reports of her children appearing where they should not be. And yet, in public, Sarai remained exactly as she promised. Polite, quiet, and helpful. She cleaned the common halls, repaired small machines, and cooked meals in the community kitchen. The children never caused trouble. They followed her everywhere, silent as shadows. The whisper in the workshop on the fifth night, Raynor decided to check on her himself. It was late. The colony lights dimmed to night mode. He found her in the small workshop outside her apartment, fixing a broken air filter. You work late, Raynor said. Sarai didn't look up. I cannot sleep, she replied simply. The dark always feels closer at night. Raynor leaned against the wall. You keep saying the dark. What do you mean? She paused, her hands still. For a moment, she seemed to search for the right words. Then she looked at him, her gold eyes almost glowing in the dim light. It is not the absence of light. It is a hunger. It watches. It follows. It does not stop until there is nothing left to take. Raynor's jaw tightened. The harvesters. She nodded once. Yes, but they are not machines, Commander. They are alive. Alive in ways you do not want to understand. The children's game the next day, Lieutenant Mara reported something unsettling. I found the boy in the observation tower. She told Raynor no one saw him enter. He was standing at the glass, looking out at the stars, and he was talking. Talking to who? Raynor asked. That's the thing, Mara said. No one was there. But he kept saying, I see you, over and over. When they questioned the boy, he only smiled and said he had been playing a game. Cerise passed that evening. Raynor visited Cerise's apartment. She was sitting cross-legged on the floor, her children beside her, tracing shapes in the air that left faint golden trails before fading. I need to know everything, Raynor said without preamble. If we're in danger, the colony has to be ready. Sarai looked at her children, then back at him. My mate was a soldier, she began quietly. When the harvesters came, our people fought. But you cannot fight a shadow that eats thought before it eats flesh. Raynor frowned. Explain that? They take minds first. They erase memory, will, self, until the body is just an empty shell. Then they take the shell too. Her voice didn't rise, but it carried a chill that made the room feel smaller. My mate told me to run. He sealed me in a small ship with only the children. He said, find someone who will protect you, someone who will not give you back. Humans have that reputation, and the wife offer. Raynor asked, her lips tightened. In my culture, bonded mates cannot be traded or surrendered, even in war. If I was claimed, I would be untouchable. It was the only promise I thought you might keep. Unseen visitors 3 nights later, the alarms sounded. Not loud enough for the whole colony to panic, but enough to get Raynor's team moving. Commander, the watch officer said, we're getting brief sensor contacts near the outer defense grid. They're gone as soon as we lock on. Like, something's testing us. Raynor's mind went to Sarai immediately. He found her standing in the courtyard, staring at the sky. The children were holding her hands. They are here, she said simply. Raynor looked up. The stars were calm. No ships, no light. Nothing. Your sensors will not see them until they wish it, Sarai said. When you see them, it will already be too late. The first incident the next morning, one of the agricultural domes lost power. When engineers went to check, they found the plants withered, the water tanks empty, and the walls coated in a thin layer of black dust. Tests showed the dust was organic life, but not any life form in human records. When Raynor showed the sample to Sarai, she touched it with one long finger. This is the breath they leave behind, she said. It means they are close enough to taste you. The children's secret that night, Mara intercepted a faint signal, one that wasn't on any colony frequency. She traced it to Cerise's apartment. When Raynor arrived, the children were standing in the center of the room, their eyes glowing brighter than he had ever seen. Patterns of light spun in the air around them, forming shapes like star maps, not of human space. Sarai stepped in front of them, blocking Raynor's view. You should not be here, she said. They're sending something, Raynor said. A message, a warning, Sarai replied. Her tone was sharp now. For others like us, if any are left. Raynor took a slow breath, and the harvesters. Will they hear it too? Her silence was answer enough. The closing shadow that night, Raynor couldn't sleep. From his quarters, he looked out at the dark stretch of space beyond New Dawn. He imagined something moving out there, something vast and silent, watching them the way a predator watches prey. Somewhere in the colony, the children's golden eyes opened in the dark. They turned to the same stretch of sky, and far away in the cold void. Something turned toward them in return. Signs of danger. The colony of New Dawn had been quiet for 3 days. Too quiet. Commander Raynor knew the feeling well, the calm before a storm. He walked through the central dome, his eyes scanning the people. They were working, laughing, eating. But underneath, there was a tension. They all knew something was coming. The reports kept piling up on his desk. Strange power drops. Glitches in the security AI, short bursts of static on the comms. Always at the same time of night. And Cerie's words haunted him. When you see them, it will already be too late. The broken patrollet started with a missing patrol. To security. Drones and one manned scout vehicle had been sent to sweep the outer asteroid belt. The drones came back damaged, cameras fried, memory wiped. The manned scout never returned. Mara found the wreck 3 hours later, drifting. The pilot was still inside. His suit was intact. His body looked unharmed. But his eyes, wide open, frozen in terror. Dr. Hale's autopsy was short and grim. No physical cause of death, he told Raynor. It's like his mind just shut off. The growing fear word spread fast. People locked their doors earlier. Farmers stayed inside. The dome's after-dark cycle. The council pressured Raynor to send Sarai and her children away, just in case. They've brought nothing but trouble, Bennett argued during the meeting. First the signal, then the shipwreck, now this. You can't tell me it's all coincidence. Raynor didn't answer right away. He didn't trust Sarai completely. But he couldn't ignore the fact that she hadn't lied so far. And if she was telling the truth, sending her away might be exactly what their enemies wanted. Cerie's warning that night. Raynor found Sarai sitting on the observation deck, staring at the stars. The children sat cross-legged beside her, drawing glowing patterns in the air. They are closer, she said, without looking at him. How close? Raynor asked. Close enough to smell the metal of your walls. Close enough to hear your hearts beating? Raynor's jaw tightened. Then tell me what they want. Sarai finally turned to him. They want you. All of you. The harvesters feed on what makes you you. Your memories. Your thoughts. Your love. They strip it away until only the shell remains. She leaned closer, and they take the children. First. The first shadow the next day, one of the agricultural domes went dark. Security footage showed nothing unusual until the last few seconds. The lights flickered, and for one frame, something appeared. It was tall, black, and thin as a shadow. Its head was featureless except for a faint red glow where eyes might be. And then it was gone. When the footage played in the council room, the members went pale. That's it, Bennett said. We're under attack. The children's reaction, Raynor, went straight to Cerie's apartment. The moment he stepped inside, the children ran to the far wall, pressing their hands to it as if listening through the metal. Their golden eyes glowed brighter than before. They are speaking, the girl said quietly. Who? Raynor asked. The Dark Ones, that are telling each other where we are. Sarai stood, her face calm, but her voice tight. They've marked the colony. You have little time. Power loss that night. Half the colony lost power. Emergency lights flickered in the corridors. The life support systems coughed and groaned. Raynor's COMM crackled. Mara's voice came through. Urgent. Commander, the sensors picked up something moving inside the asteroid field. It's fast. Too fast for a rock or a ship. Raynor ran to the control tower. On the main screen, a blur danced. Between the asteroids, almost invisible against the black. Every time they tried to lock onto it, it shifted, vanishing from the scanners. It's like it knows we're watching, Mara said. The breach 2 hours later, alarms screamed. Sector 7's outer wall sensors went offline. By the time a response team arrived, the wall was intact, but there was a single mark burned into it. A black sun with sharp lines radiating outward. Raynor froze. It was the same symbol he had seen on Cerie's wrecked ship. When he told her, she only nodded. It is their brand. It means they have claimed this place. The Council's division. The Council was split in two. Half wanted to fight. Half wanted to abandon the colony entirely. Raynor knew that panic was dangerous. If people started running, they would be easy prey. But he also knew the harvesters weren't going to wait much longer. "They're playing with us," Sarai told him. "Testing your walls, your people, your fear. Soon, they will not test. They will take." The unseen eyes that night, Raynor stood on the outer walkway, staring into the endless black. Stars seemed still. Heartfelt watched. The hair on his arms rose. Somewhere behind him, the girl's voice spoke softly. "They're here." Raynor turned. The children stood in the shadows, golden eyes fixed on the darkness beyond the colony. He followed their gaze, and for the briefest moment, he saw it. A shape, tall, silent, watching. And then, like smoke in the wind, it was gone. The truth revealed the council chamber was full. Every seat taken, every voice tense. The symbol burned into the colony's outer wall had shaken even the bravest among them. Commander Raynor stood at the center. Arms crossed, eyes on Sarai. She sat with her children on either side. Still and silent as always. Bennett slammed his hand on the table. "We can't wait anymore. The enemy is marking us like prey. We either leave or fight. Fight with what?" Dr. Hale snapped. "Against something we can barely see." All eyes turned to Sarai. Raynor stepped forward. "Enough. She knows. More than she's telling, and it's time she tells us everything." The beginning of the story. Sarai's golden eyes scanned the room slowly before she spoke. "My people were once like yours," she began softly. "We built cities. We grew. Gardens that floated in the air. We thought we were safe because we were far from other worlds." She looked down at her hands. A T, and then the sky split. Raynor frowned. Split. The harvesters arrived in silence. No invasion fleets. No weapons we could see. Just ships of black bone and steel, moving like shadows. Her voice grew colder. They did not speak to us. They did not demand surrender. They entered us. Not our homes, our minds. The harvester's method. You think of war as weapons and fire, Sarai continued. But the harvesters feed. They take thoughts, memories, feelings, till there's nothing left. Inside the mind, your body stays alive, but you are gone. A chill went through the chamber. Even the most skeptical council members leaned in now. They begin with children, Sarai said. The young are easier to hollow out. Their thoughts are bright, their dreams strong. Once the children are gone, the parents follow, not by force, but because they cannot live without them. The last stand. Raynor's voice was tight. What happened to your people? Sarai's gaze turned distant. We fought. We built machines to shield our minds. We burned our own cities to deny them food. But they adapted. They always adapt. Hand trembled slightly as she went on. My mate was a soldier. He knew we could not win. When the harvesters began to breach the capital, he put me and the children into a scout ship. He sealed it, locked the controls to a random path, and told me to find a species that might fight for us. And then she stopped, swallowing hard. And then I watched the city go dark. The brand Bennett leaned forward. And the symbol they left on our wall. The black sun. Sarai nodded. It means we are theirs now. In their language, it says, here lies the next harvest. The words sank into the room like stones dropped into deep water. The children's secret trainer looked at the two children. What about them? Why are they different? Sarai's eyes hardened. They are the last of my kind who still carry light. My people were born with a link, a way to touch minds without words. The harvesters cannot take what is protected by that bond. But the bond is fragile. If I die, it will break. The boy finally spoke, his voice quiet but steady. We can see them, Commander. Even when they hide. We can hear their whispers in the dark. The impending attack Dar. Hale shifted uneasily. If they've marked us, how long before they come? Sarai shook her head. They are already here. They are watching, learning your patterns, your weaknesses. When they strike, it will be sudden, and you will not have time to prepare. Mara stood. Then we do prepare. Now we double defenses, arm every sector, lock down the outer rings. It will not be enough, Sarai said flatly. Your weapons will hurt them, but not kill them. To destroy a harvester, you must strike the mind behind the shadow. And that mind is hidden in their core ships. The hidden weapon Raynor stepped closer. Do you know how to destroy them? Sarai's eyes met his. Yes, my mate gave me a weapon one, the harvester's fear. But it is still in my wrecked ship in the asteroid belt. I could not reach it alone. Bennett scoffed. Or maybe you just want us to walk into another trap. Sarai didn't flinch. Believe me or don't, but without it, your colony will be nothing but empty shells by the next cycle. The decision Raynor turned to the council. If she's lying, we'll know soon enough. She's telling the truth, this might be our only chance. The room was silent for a long moment. Finally, Mara spoke. I'll go with her. Raynor nodded. So will I. The ominous end. As the meeting ended, Sarai rose with her children. The boy touched Raynor's arm. His golden eyes seemed older than they should be. They're listening to you right now, the boy said quietly. When you sleep, they will. Come closer. Raynor felt the hair on the back of his neck rise. How close? The boy didn't smile. Close enough to taste your dreams. The battle the rescue craft Starlance cut through the dark toward the asteroid belt. Its engines running silent to avoid detection. Commander Raynor sat in the cockpit beside Mara, his hands tight on the controls. Behind them, Sarai sat with her. Children, her gaze fixed on the stars ahead. The plan was simple. Get to her wrecked ship. Retrieve the weapon and return before the harvesters knew. But deep inside, Raynor knew it wouldn't be that easy. Entering the belt, the asteroid belt loomed ahead. Jagged rocks tumbling through the void, shadows swallowing light. The wreck of Sarai's ship appeared on the scanners, lodged between two massive stones. There, Sarai said softly, leaning forward. Mara checked the radar. No movement, no signals. Looks clear. Raynor shook his head. It's never clear. They eased the Starlance toward the wreck, magnetic clamps locking them in place. The boarding hatch hissed open, releasing a puff of warm air into the cold void. The wreck looked worse than Raynor remembered. Deep gashes along the hull. Metal twisted as if something had chewed through it. Inside, the air was stale and heavy. Their boots crunched over black dust. Every sound echoed too loudly. Sarai moved quickly, leading them down a corridor. Her children followed silently, their golden eyes scanning the shadows. The weapon is in the core chamber, Sarai said, buried in the floor. Raynor noticed the way she kept glancing over her shoulder. You're expecting company, he said. They're here. She replied without slowing. The first sign the boy stopped suddenly, his small hand pressing to the wall. They're close, he whispered, in the stones. Before Raynor could ask what he meant, the ship shuddered. A deep vibration rolled through the metal, like something massive was brushing against it. Mara raised her weapon. We've got movement outside. The enemy appears through a cracked viewport. Raynor saw them shapes moving in the void, tall and thin, their bodies black as shadows. They didn't drift like debris. They moved with intent, sliding across the rocks toward the wreck. There, heads glowed faintly red, like dying embers. They know, Sarai said calmly. They always know. The weapon they reached the core chamber, a circular room with a cracked floor. Sarai knelt and pried open a hidden panel, revealing a cylindrical device no bigger than her forearm. Its surface shimmered faintly, runes glowing in gold. "This will burn their minds," she said, "but only if we get close enough to their core ship." Raynor grabbed it. "Then let's move." The breach the corridor lights flickered. Then, when out in the dark, Raynor heard it, a soft, scraping sound, like nails dragging across metal. Then a whisper, too low to make out, but it made his skin crawl. Mara flicked on her wrist light. The beam cut through the black and landed on one of them. It stood in the hallway ahead, tall and impossibly thin, its body rippling like smoke. The red glow in its head pulsed slowly, almost like breathing. Then it moved. The fight in the dark move. Raynor shouted. Mara fired bright bursts of plasma lighting up the corridor. The creature twisted unnaturally, dodging some shots. But the rest burned through its shadow-like skin. It let out a sound, not a scream, but a vibration that rattled the teeth in Raynor's skull. Two more appeared from the side corridors. Sarai grabbed her children, tolling them toward the docking hatch. "Do not look into their eyes." "T," shouted. Raynor fired again, forcing one of the creatures back, but it kept coming, dragging itself along the wall like a spider. The escape, they reached the hatch. The sound of scraping and whispers closing in behind them. Mara slammed the controls, sealing the door, but something heavy struck it from the other side. The metal bent inward. "Launch," Raynor ordered. The Star Lance detached from the wreck, just as one of the shadow figures burst through the hull, reaching for them with long black fingers. The engines roared, and the craft shot forward, leaving the wreck and the harvesters behind. The pursuiton, the scanners, more shapes emerged from the asteroid field. They moved like predators, closing fast. "They're calling the others," the girl said quietly. "They know we have the weapon." Raynor's heart pounded. "Then we get home before they catch us." Mara pushed the engines to full, weaving through the rocks. Each time they cleared one, another shadow figure loomed, trying to block their path. Plasma fire lit the darkness as Raynor blasted through them, but the harvesters kept coming. Home. In sight, the glowing lights of new dawn finally appeared ahead. Raynor opened the comms. "Control, open the gate. We're coming in hot." As the outer shield parted, the Starlens roared inside. The moment they cleared the gate, Raynor ordered. It sealed. The shadows outside didn't try to follow, they simply stopped, watching. The boy pressed his face to the viewport. "They're waiting," he said. Raynor stared out at them. He knew the truth. This was only the beginning. The new beginning. The colony gates shut with a deep, metallic thud, sealing new dawn from the black beyond. Inside the Starlance, no one moved for several seconds. The crew just listened to the silence. Commander Raynor finally stood, his hands still gripping the weapon Sarai had retrieved. Its golden runes glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. "They didn't follow us inside," Mara said, peering out the viewport. "They don't need to," Sarai replied quietly. "They are patient." A fragile victory in the council chamber. Raynor placed the weapon on the central table. "This is what we risked our lives for," he said. "Sarai claims it can destroy them, but only if we get close to their core." "Ship." Bennett frowned. "And where exactly is that?" Sarai's golden eyes locked on his. "It will find you. It always does." A cold murmur swept the room. The plan Raynor kept his voice steady. "We have two choices. We wait here until they strike, or we take the fight to them while we have the chance." Bennett scoffed. "That's suicide." "It's survival," Raynor countered. "If they reach full strength, nothing will stop them. Not for us. Not for Earth." Sarai leaned forward. "Your weapons alone will not win. You will need my children." The council erupted in protest. "They're just kids." someone shouted. They are more than that, Sarai said, her voice calm but heavy. They can see the harvesters even when cloaked. They can guide your fire. Without them, you will be shooting blind. The children's decision later in a quiet corridor, Raynor knelt before the children. You've seen what they can do. This will be dangerous, more dangerous than anything before. The boy met his eyes. We don't want to hide anymore. The girl nodded. If we run, they will follow. If we fight, maybe they will stop. Raynor didn't argue. They had already seen more than most soldiers. Strange calm for 2 days, nothing happened. No shadows on the sensors. No power failures. No strange whispers. The colony began to relax, a dangerous mistake. Raynor didn't relax. He walked the outer walls at night, scanning the stars. Each time, he half expected to see the faint red glow of their watchers. Sarai often joined him, standing silently beside him, her gaze fixed on the same dark stretch of sky. The message on the third night. The colony's comms array lit up with a signal, faint but unmistakable. It was not human. The sound was like metal grinding against stone, mixed with deep, slow pulses that felt like heartbeats. Sarai's face went pale. They are calling us. The boy pressed his hands to his ears. They're telling each other. It's time. The first strike, the attack, came at dawn. It began with the outer sensors going blind. Then, without warning, the walls shook. A black shape slammed into the outer shield, its long limbs spreading like claws across the barrier. Red light burned from its head as more shadows appeared behind it. Shields at 70%. Mara shouted over the comms. Raynor grabbed the weapon from the war table. Open the inner gate. We can't fire from inside. The turning point, Sari and her children joined him on the outer platform. The golden runes of the weapon flared brighter as the creatures drew closer. Focus, Sarai told the children. Find the mind at the center. The boy's eyes glowed, and the girl pointed toward a point deep in the swarm. There, Reyna. Raise the weapon. Gah. A beam of pure golden light erupted, cutting through the black forms like fire through paper. The shadows shrieked, not with sound, but with a pressure that made the air feel heavy. The front line of harvesters scattered, but others surged forward, moving faster now. The retreat of the shadows, for every one that fell, more appeared behind it. The weapon burned bright, but its energy was draining. They're pulling back. Mara called, disbelief in her voice. Raynor didn't believe it until he saw it. The shadows were retreating, slipping back into the black beyond the shield. The weapon's glow dimmed. Sarai lowered her hands, sweat on her silver skin. For now, she said, we are safe. The cliffhanger that night, the colony celebrated quietly. People hugged each other. Some cried. For the first time in days, there was laughter. But Raynor didn't join the celebration. He stood alone on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Sarai joined him. They will come back, she said. I know. The boy stepped beside them, pointing toward the horizon. They left a gift. Raynor followed his gaze. Out there, beyond the asteroid belt. A faint red glow pulsed in the darkness in perfect rhythm, like a heartbeat, and far away. In a place no human had ever seen, a Harvester Corps ship turned slowly toward Earth.